Okay, so
welcome to episode 2. This is really loud again.
Is it? It is.
No.
Well,
A little.
It's a little loud. I think we said that would be okay.
Yeah, I can always reduce it later,
Okay,
and especially because we're sitting back. Anyway, welcome to episode 2 of whatever we're calling this. As much as the next guy.
Right, yeah.
I'm your co-host, Owen Person.
And I'm your other co-host, Aaron.
Today we're talking about nostalgia.
Because Owen, I had admitted that I didn't watch as a kid Homestar Runner, and this elicited a wave of nostalgia.
How have you never seen Homestar Runner?
Because I didn't watch it as a kid.
No, but you said that people talked. You never just like went home and were like.
No, I said no one mentioned it to me. It was like I heard the name maybe once, and I was just sort of like, but it wasn't like it all aimed at me. It was like two other people, and I was like, hey, whatever.
Oh, but it's freaking Homestar Runner.
You didn't just look crap up.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I didn't at the time.
Dude, I don't even remember how I found it, but it was like, that was elementary school for me.
I didn't find it.
And middle school.
Okay.
It was like.
Yeah, you mentioned it then, but you never were like, hey, Aaron, you should watch Homestar Runner.
I swear I was, because Homestar Runner was like.
Okay,
big.
so, yeah. Okay, so, like. Okay, in terms of nostalgia, though, like, that's not a great example for the purposes of discussing it, because, like, see, Homestar Runner is, like, you're both nostalgic about it, and it's, like, actually good.
I think the weird thing about nostalgia, though, is that a lot of people, you know, they have these great ideas of how something is, and then they go back and, like, rewatch or replay or whatever, and they're like, oh, that was shit.
Well, it's interesting. Well, really, though? I mean, okay, like, people talk about being, like, nostalgia blinded, but, like, in all honesty, I can't even think of an example, so this is kind of weak, but, like, you look at it, and you're like, you go back, and you're like, I've had, like, where I go back, and I'm just like, oh, this is gonna be great, and then it's like, oh, this was still a kid's show, it's, like, mediocre, but I've never gone back and gone, oh my god, I like shit, at least for nothing that I had nostalgia about, like, there's kid shows.
I mean, yeah, but kids really don't have taste, though.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is, like, you also don't have, like, immense nostalgia for, like, kid shows that also are just terrible. Like, not normally. Dude. I mean, like, you're not, like...
Dude.
Okay.
Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
That
was the best kids show ever.
This is the kid show episode.
Okay,
but a kid show. Never mind. Scratch nostalgia. They're sort of the same thing.
It's always into the same thing because everyone
kind of the same thing.
Like everyone remembers that first like cartoon show or whatever where they were a kid that they really truly loved. Probably.
I don't remember that. just to completely invalidate your last statement.
Most people, normal people.
Okay, fair enough.
Have. I mean, okay, but it was freaking Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. How could you not love that?
Well, I didn't, like, hate it. I was like, this is a pretty decent show. I will watch it if it is on. And then I watched it if it was on.
Yeah, but, I mean, how did you not love it?
I have, like, okay, because it was, like, a show, and I was like, oh, it's good. I didn't really, okay, like, as a kid, I don't think I had the capacity to love anything. Like, I was just like...
I didn't have the capacity for love.
I was like...
My parents just... I only used them for food.
No, but you know what I mean? I was just kind of like a kid, and I was like... I'd, like, watch a show, and I'd, like, laugh, and I'd be like, that was great. And then I'd be like, yeah, that show was tolerable. I'll watch it if it comes out again.
I like how you did the Mountain Dew drink gesture there.
I don't have a Mountain Dew, which is why that's funny.
Yeah, he just, like, gestured drinking something. Like, he's, like, sipping ponderingly on some drink. Where he's like, I didn't really like TV shows.
Okay, I already drank, like, like 2 cans, and...
I'm not gonna fucking stop that.
And, like, 2... Is this, like, a 16-ounce, 21?
That's... Fucking, I don't 18? Fucking know. Standard fucking size,
medium,
fast food restaurant.
Medium fast food restaurant drink. I drank 2 refills of that. So, the reason I'm saying this instead of talking about kid shows is that I don't have to urinate. We're not stopping the podcast for this.
You're just gonna leave me here to fucking talk for like a minute?
Yes.
Oh god.
It won't be that long.
Okay, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. I mean, that was a great show. Because I don't even know why, but just something about it was so quintessentially childlike. Because I mean, most kids had an imaginary friend that they remember that was like theirs, and it's just something. The concept seemed so original to me, and then oh God, I remember when I was younger, I would just sit there and watch them for hours, and like whenever you watch anything for a few hours, it just gets weird. Like, you know that feeling, man? I was talking about something that'd be great to have someone, like, fucking respond to.
What?
Okay. You know that feeling, like, when you just sit down and, like, you watch, like, episodes of the same show
Yes.
for hours? Like,
Yes.
Like, and it just starts to get really weird.
Yes.
Okay.
Like,
that
weird
happened to me
though?
twice. I'm gonna describe to you.
Okay.
Like, life just gets surreal.
Okay.
Like,
Are you just like...
it happened to me twice. Once with SpongeBob, and once with Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. The capping stone in the Foster's Run was the one where they're stuck at the top of the house, and they have to get down for dinner, but they keep on ending up back at the top of the house.
Okay.
Like, they'll fucking walk down all the stairs, and then they'll be right back at the top.
I swear I saw that once.
It's just like a half-hour episode of them trying to get down, and they can't. And that episode was the capping corner for me, where just sort of the lines between the cartoon show and reality started to blur.
What,
and I began to think of, like, how weird would that actually be, and, like, it trips you out, because, I mean, yeah, it's funny in a cartoon, but if you imagine it happening in real life, it's really scary and trippy.
Dude.
And in my little, like, cartoon-addled, hyperactive kid brain...
Dude. You know Land Before Time?
I know of it. That's like with the fucking dinosaurs, right?
Yes.
I never actually saw it.
Absolutely horrible. But as a kid, I saw like all of them, and like that was just one of the movies we had. And at some point, when I was like 5 or 6 or some shit, like I had a dream, which I think was somehow prompted by this. I was like following the dinosaurs like through a volcano, and then they all got ahead of me, and I couldn't catch up to them. And then, like, a purple balloon with, like, a face drawn on it, like, came out from, like, behind a fucking, like, wall of the
I've heard the
volcano.
balloon story, but I never heard this tied with Land Before Time.
No, it was, though. That was how the volcano got tied in. But then, it's like, I'm just like, no, not the balloon. And I'm, like, fucking running away from a purple balloon with a face on it. Like, okay, the face wasn't even, like, a scary face. It was, like a, like, squiggly, like, zigzag line, and, like, one, like, eye that was a spiral, and the other it was just a dot, and it was, like, chasing me through a volcano. It wasn't, like, saying anything or doing anything that wasn't balloon-like. It was just kind of, like, slowly floating after... It was just slowly floating after me.
The scariest balloon ever.
It was fucking horrifying as a kid, but...
Man.
On that note, like, God, I think I might actually have nostalgia for Land Before the Time, somehow.
No, it's
I think
weird.
That's tragic. I think I do. Like, I'm like, oh, man.
Okay,
As a kid, those are great movies. I don't know if is that nostalgia if you're just like as a kid.
No. You just reminded me because we were talking about Dragon Tales.
Yes.
Earlier, and you actually just reminded me of a dream that I had when I was a little kid, where I was in the Dragon Tales world, except it was really morbid. So it was like all the two-headed one,
yes.
like the green and purple one, had like killed someone.
Okay.
And and fucking like because only one of the sides was responsible for the murder, they like. What?
Okay.
No, it was weird.
No, carry on.
No, but all I remember was, okay, there had been, like, a murder, but then, like, there was, like, a giant fucking bonfire, and they're all, like, standing around it, and they're, like...
Wouldn't that be a lesson that the kids need to learn how to deal with it?
And they're how to deal with it
if one of your friends...
victim.
How to deal with it if one of your friends accidentally kills...
All the dragons were fucking cooking the murdered victim.
If one of the twin siblings accidentally kills someone, or intentionally, whichever, and how to deal with that.
No, but they were cooking the murder victim.
Well, yeah.
In the fire, and I was
pretty sure they're kind of
I was just there, and I'm like, huh. And like, I remember.
Were you like stone faced as a kid, just like, huh?
Dude, my childhood was so weird.
Not really. I mean, you watch Dragon. Okay.
Okay. No, but it's Dragon. I've actually started getting like more nightmares as I get older.
Well, yeah.
I think because I've like tried to start causing them. Like I've done like some research into
I'm sorry. I have like cat allergies,
and I have like cats.
Like cats, so I'm like half dying as we record this. So if you just occasionally hear me go, or something of the like, that's like
it's a hairball.
No, probably
it's
not.
A hairball. It could be.
It could be.
It could be. No, but fuck, I was saying something too. I was saying something. Now we're fucking distracted.
Well, yeah.
God,
What shows are you nostalgic about? Like
Foster's.
Okay, Foster's, yes. But like, what are there any of that ones that you would call bad though that you're nostalgic about? Just like any show, you're like, no, that's horrible now, but I really just can't help but love it because I loved it so much in my childhood.
I mean, like, there are shows that I liked as a child that I realize are bad now, so like Dragon Tales.
Well, yeah.
But a lot of the shows that I like truly loved as a kid have held up really well.
Okay.
I really loved Arthur, and Arthur is really not that bad of a kid's show at all.
Still
it's
not
like
great.
Innocent. It's not great, but it's not
okay,
awful.
for a kid's show, it's I would, in all honesty, Arthur's still just
if you consider that sort of type of educational PBS children's show, Arthur is like fucking top of the heap.
Yeah, basically. I mean, okay, it's like not okay. They're Arthur's basically like we're gonna do like the kids show, only like we aren't gonna rely on just being insane or having like magic or some shit.
No, but I think that kind of helped it because it was just sort of
like okay,
even though they were like fucking talking animals or whatever, they dealt with like more realistic scenarios than most kids shows do.
We have to say like, more because it's still not. But no, yeah, it like. Fucking Arthur, it's like, I didn't do my math homework. And fucking Dragon Tales, it's like, oh no, Dragon didn't share his magical cupcake with the fucking rest of the giant that's guarding a cage door or some shit. I swear that was like almost an episode.
I think what
my memories
Arthur
are
did
so
well
distorted
though.
By time.
I think what Arthur did well though is making it feel real, like we're talking about though. Like it seemed realistic. Like I know that I remember there were times like the parents wouldn't call each other mom and dad. The parents would call each other by their actual name.
Yes.
And I mean that's like a small touch, but like.
Oh yeah. I mean, okay, like it's. Oh god.
You know what other show
actually, no, dude, no. Okay, I'm gonna talk for a while. Just shut up. Okay, so on that note, there was like a movie or some shit with Arthur, and one, it was terrible, but two, it used 3D animation, and I
never saw that. I think I saw like trailers for it.
It's fucking awful. My sister was watching it, and it was like, oh my god, it's so bad. But no, but that's not what I was. The point is, I believe it's cheaper and simpler, and there are times when 3D animation is good. But if you're going to be making a show with the limitations of a show and like the need to rush things out, 3D does not look good ever.
Okay.
No, just like no.
Jimmy Neutron.
Oh well, okay. That didn't look good.
It didn't look good. I'm bringing that up because it didn't look good, but you just reminded me for like CG animation as a kid.
But the point is, what I'm saying is though, like I watched that as a kid. I thought it was like pretty good as a kid.
Yeah, I like Jimmy Neutron.
No, that had better animation than like a lot of the modern 3D ones. The modern 3D ones are just like, oh god, that's so not even close to real.
Sid the Science Kid. Oh god. This requires a little bit of context. One night, we were all just sitting around. It's like 1 a.m. and we wanted to find something really fucking stupid to watch on Netflix. So, a friend of ours, he's like not here right now.
It's like educational. I'm not gonna...
He added...
I'm not gonna call it completely stupid. It is stupid for us to watch.
We only watched like 3 minutes of it then, but then later on, Seth and I went back and
you're like a friend of ours.
We rewatched the friend of ours, Seth.
Yeah.
Him and I rewatched the entire first episode of it. Like we only saw like 5 minutes of it because again it was like 2 a.m. and we're just like, dude, let's find something stupid to watch.
2 a.m. is a good time to find stupid shit to watch.
And it was so bad because the ostensibly science aspect of it is just this little fucking kid with the fucking purple dreadlocks that look like Play-Doh coming out of his hair. Really is.
The style is interesting.
They float.
Interesting will be my term.
The ground. They floated.
Wait, like the kids was just like floating.
It's actually surprisingly hard in computer animation to make models look like they're standing on the ground.
Well, yes,
but
it was like floating.
They
like friggin'
were like about an inch above the ground when they would walk and stuff, and you could tell by the shadow that they weren't touching the ground.
Okay.
But again, because that was like that sort of 2 a.m. what the hell is going on phase, I entered that sort of same state that I was talking about earlier, where I sort of started to think about what if this was actually real life, and it was.
What if this was actually
what if real life were the world of Sid the Science Kid?
I was just like I had a mental image. You were like in front of a TV, just with Sid the Science Kid. You were like, what if this was real life? And like really serious, like, what if this was how I lived?
No, that kind of happened. Because,
no, I know.
Because when they were showing like the neighborhood scenes, their neighborhood was all of 3 blocks, and then it would just sort of stop in this 2D hedge pattern with like an obvious skybox extending beyond it. There was no one else around. The world was completely dead, save for just Sid and his mom, like, driving the car.
What if Sid is alone?
It was this kind of... And, like, it seems like their entire world feels so empty, because all they have is, the school with the 3 students and the teacher, and then Sid with his, like, mom.
Yeah.
And the world felt, like, so depressingly empty. I ended up feeling really, like, hollow inside. Just sort of, like... This is awful, but awful. It's affecting me like in a weird way. It was weird, and if that happens to me, I mean, I was 16 when we did that, I think.
Yeah.
How do you think like the little 2 and 3-year-olds
they probably
are going to internalize
okay,
this?
They're probably not having the same like, what if this was my real life?
I sound like I was fucking stoned then, but I wasn't.
Okay, no, but okay, like. Okay, like any show, that show is really guilty of it. It's just like, and it's like, oh, this kid is like super smart, and he like is like naturally inquisitive and like knows what the fuck's going on with like math and science and like knowledge and stuff. But then they don't know anything, or they know really obvious things, and it's just sort of like, you're not significant, really. And I mean, okay, that's the point. It's because it's like developing kids, so it's like. Positive role model, these kids already know what you will learn, and thus you will be them and be as cool as them, and it will be cool. But
yeah, but see, in that way, like I feel like a lot of children's shows don't actually present a main character that kids should aspire to be.
Well, not like a main character. Well, a lot of kid shows have like a kid main character, and it's kind of like kids aren't really that great.
Fairly Odd Parents.
Oh God. Fairly Odd Parents. I actually, okay, like, even as a kid, to this day, I still have, like, no opinion on that show. I'm just
None?
like... No, I'm, like, literally, like... Huh. No, it's kind of... Okay, you know, like...
I went through a phase where I really liked it. Then I went through a phase where I really hated it. And now I've
sort of like... Huh.
I've come back around to it's a decent enough children's show, but it got worse over time, as they tend to do.
Yeah.
And they made like a fucking live-action movie of it.
Wait, they did?
They made 2 of them, I think.
Live-action?
Live-action Fairly Odd Parents.
I know there were like animated ones, but like live...
But I swear there was a live-action one.
Oh my God, why would you do that? What would you... Oh God! Oh God, it's a thing. Why would you do that? That's like, no.
That's Timmy. I'll post
Why would you do that?
I'll post the picture.
I don't even like the show. I just said that. I never liked the show, but why would you do that? Okay, like anytime when it's like 2D animation and you switch to 3D or you switch to live action, it is always just like, no.
Okay, but again, so is that what Cosmo and Wanda
I think
were?
so.
I never saw the live
horrifying.
action movie. That was right around when that was coming out. Was when I got off of
it's
liking the show. Like, okay, actually, that's way more recent than I thought.
Yeah, why would it?
I swear I was like 9 when this was coming out.
Oh, okay, maybe it wasn't like it was like pushed back.
That's
maybe,
so weird that that's 2011. I mean, that's just like what 2 years ago now. I swear I was 9.
Why would they do that, man? Dude.
Wow. Anyway,
why would you do that? Seriously, just like bringing it down. Okay,
but
is
all
it
I remember.
Cheaper? I suppose it would be kind of in a way because you can just stick like an actor in front of a camera and be like, okay,
I mean, the animation was super cheap as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, like it's still like worse off for like an animator to make something than like live action. It'll probably look better, presuming they put in the prerequisite time, because it's like, okay, when you're animating shit, you gotta like plan stuff. You gotta like plan stuff out. When it's like live action, you can just like put down the camera and be like, okay, dude, you're on camera, just be you. And they're like, okay, I'm Timmy.
Yeah, but that never really works.
Well, no, it doesn't work.
Ad-libbing in front of a camera.
No, it doesn't work
at all.
It doesn't work. And I'm not saying that they did that for the movie. I'm just saying like, there's much more potential for like fucking up.
Well, I mean, it does work sometimes. Like,
sometimes.
A lot of Firefly was ad-libbed actually, but that's because they had like a really stellar cast who worked well together.
Yeah.
So
Wait,
that's
was a lot of it ad-libbed?
yeah, a lot of Firefly.
That's fucking badass.
Not like a ton of it,
but like enough.
a lot of the most memorable lines were made
Or
up
just,
on the
like-
spot, and even small things. Like in the first episode, one of the earliest episodes, there's like the part where they're standing in the cargo bay, and Kaylee's like, "I love my captain," and Mal just sort of like reaches over and gives her a hug. That wasn't scripted, but Nathan Fillion just felt like that was a Mal thing to do, so he did it.
That's
And
That's actually great.
and it really does. It gives you this definition of character because it shows that, like, okay, even though he has this sort of like idea of himself as being like this sort of like badass space cowboy, he does like care for his crew and is like
it's like a nice thing. Oh god. Okay. With kid shows, and this is kind of like the type of like not as many people are nostalgic for educational kid shows because they're educational and they're not focused on entertaining you. But
but as a really little kid, that was all I was allowed to watch.
Well, I know.
Like, I imagine all these Nickelodeon shows, but
them.
that's because I'd get them on DVD from the library.
Yeah.
Like,
no, but the point I'm trying to reach here is, like, there's, like, two types of kid shows, and one of them is educational, in which the world is cohesive and maybe even too structured, and you're like, why is there not more weirdness here, given the world? And then there's the other kind, which is, like, Fairly Odd Parents, or, like, Teen Titans, or like any other kid show, and it's just like, in that, the world is also batshit crazy, but like there's like no cohesion. There's cohesion, but it's just like fucking whatever, man. It's just douche stuff on screen.
Yeah, because those ones are just designed to
for entertainment.
like
it's
put
funny,
the kid in front of them for a half hour to shut him up.
It's funny and lively,
which I think is part of their enduring appeal. But like, but I mean, that doesn't. You can't have a show just on completely random stuff. There needs to be a little bit of structure.
We have to have like enough cohesion that you're like, I identify with this character, and that's why. Okay, it's like how like in a world where like there's like no straight man, like in a comedy thing, if there's like no one logical or at all sane, you're just like, I don't care. They're all insane. Why is that funny? They're all crazy. Also, this world seems kind of dangerous, and I wouldn't want to be near it.
Yeah, you really do need that normal person
to
draw it in.
Yeah.
For an example of that, I was at a friend's house, and she had Adult Swim on.
Okay.
And there was some show on there. I forget what Jailbreak or something. It's about Super Jail, something like that.
I have never heard of this.
It's like an adult-oriented cartoon about like some high security prison.
A jailbreak.
I forget what it's called, but I think it's called like Super Jail.
Is it about a jailbreak?
No, it's like the people in this prison
life. Okay.
and then there's like the warden who runs it. But it's just like it was just insanity on screen, and I had no idea what was going on. It seemed like, like on The Simpsons with Itchy and Scratchy.
Yes.
Like how on TV shows, they'll have like the TV show in the TV show that
like
literally makes no sense and is just like
violence.
sensory overload sort of as a parody. That's what this show made me think of. And I was just like, I don't know what's going on. I don't even care. I didn't find it like enjoyable just because I had no idea what was going on. It just didn't make sense. There was nothing to draw you in unless you like fucking 30 minutes of basically a Rube Goldberg of violence with no story, which I mean in its own right can be interesting. But
it's like, wow, guys, you really made a 30-minute Rube Goldberg of like violence.
No, that's the best description for it. A 30-minute each episode. It's like a 30-minute Rube Goldberg of violence. But
that's the kind of thought. Whenever like someone just does a thing, you're like, wow, you really made that thing, didn't you? Like, this exists, and it's actually like 30 minutes long, and I'm actually watching the whole thing, and I just saw that. Like, wow. You know what I mean? Okay, like, that's like the entire joke of like 2 movies that have come out recently. Like, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. That's the joke. The joke is like, you made a movie.
Okay.
This is actually a movie that you made and then released.
I feel...
With that
did you ever
title.
see it?
No, and I want to.
I feel kind of bad for admitting it, but I really loved that movie. I'm not saying it was a good movie. It was like a pretty bad movie, but I loved it because it was like that perfect sort of guilty pleasure. This is fucking hilarious.
And just like
it's because it took
when
the
something's
absurdity.
Bad but awesome, that's when it can be a guilty pleasure, basically.
Because like the vampires were the like southern slavers. The message was literally slaves are being brought over as food for the vampires. I mean, it's like the most heavy-handed, like,
but amazing
moral ever.
Except for it's super interesting though. Like, Just
Um,
God, that is interesting.
It was just
I
a
just wanna
fun
see
movie,
it.
though.
We are so off kid shows.
I don't give a shit.
Well, no, yeah,
That's
okay.
the point. That was
Yeah.
a fun movie, though.
It was.
Um,
Okay, like really, when you get into like kid shows having like more mature audiences than they're theoretically going to have, it's basically that though. It's like this is fun. The end statement. This is fun, and that is what I want at this moment in my life.
okay, so Adventure Time, as bringing that up as a kid show with a huge adult following.
Okay,
Um,
that falls in the complete random batshit category.
I watched a few episodes of it. And I watched them from the first season, and I've talked to people, and they're like, "Oh, you need to see the later seasons; they get a lot better." But Adventure Time, I don't know what I felt about it. Like, on the one hand, I'm like, okay, this is somewhat enjoyable, and I guess I could watch more. But at the same hand, I'm just like, I'm not really getting anything out of this. Why would I want to?
Okay, the thing about like random or like just the world is insane kid shows, and like they do have an appeal. Like they do. There's a reason they exist. And that's basically like, yes, they're fun to watch. They're like, wow, that just happened on screen and I've viewed it and it's good. But, I don't know, like, you need like enough grounding that you're like, this is actually interesting and I can actually like relate. I have a lot of trouble getting invested in shows. No, that's like my biggest problem with like shows and movies. It's just sort of like, I will either completely never get invested ever or I'll be invested from minute one. And if I'm not invested, I'll be like, this is a really good show. Like with Breaking Bad, somehow, I'm just like, this is a really damn good show with tons of funny moments and all the characters are likable, but for some reason I don't care.
You only say that because you've only seen the first season.
Dude, it's
like,
still
with the
long
whole,
enough. It's long enough and it's still
when
really
you
good.
say with a ton of funny moments and all the characters are likable, I will say the funny moments get less as you go on.
But the characters...
some of the character and some like I mean because I guess the entire point is the
stronger.
sort of
yeah, it's like a degradation
of Walt. I think what Vince Gilligan said was with his goal was to turn Mr. Chips into Scarface. So
yeah,
it's just the sort of like milk a toast science teacher into like
no, it's
fucking insane.
It's like I know
thing.
it's great. What I'm saying though is like that. No, but that's like not the only example I have. This is like. BBC Sherlock, which is also really good. Oh god, I'm trying to think of other examples. The Sherlock like a similar note, the Sherlock movies, Sherlock Holmes. I just caught the entire thing on TV, and I was like,
the first one or the second?
The first one,
the Guy Ritchie one, the new one with Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, that. I caught the entire thing on TV, and I was like, up until the very end when they like explain, like it was like the mystery. We've solved, like, you know, like, it's a mystery. It's like, we've solved the mystery, and they explained it. I did not give a shit. I was just like, no, like, it was weird, because I know that it's a mystery, and I don't even mind mystery stories, but I was just like, I don't know why that happened. I don't give a shit.
See, I loved that movie for its setting and music more than anything. Because I really love the sort of Victorian London setting.
Its music had a nice pacing. It was kind of like, now we go that way.
It's a goddamn...
Did you get that from the music? Did you get
it's a Hans Zimmer.
Now we go that way.
It's like a Hans Zimmer soundtrack. It's really good.
It
really captured the feeling of the...
Was it that?
No.
I swear that was in it.
What?
It wasn't like that. It had like a... Or maybe I'm thinking of the BBC. It's all blend. I have Sherlock and it's... Yeah,
that one, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, then I was remembering it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm referring to. It's just like, ha, whimsical adventure.
But I felt it really did capture the emotion of the setting really well.
And like Sherlock being like Sherlock, and he's like wacky guy who knows things. You know what I mean though? Like that's a lot of the appeal. It's just like this character is interesting. Let us follow him. Like,
I haven't actually seen anything of Sherlock.
Sherlock's good.
I feel, in all fairness, that we need to bring up Doctor Who.
It's not completely okay. Like
it's off of kids shows. It's off of nostalgia. But since we're just talking about TV shows,
it's kind of nostalgia a little. Not for us, but like
okay, it is kind of nostalgia for me because as a little kid, my parents had me watch the older Doctor Who, like Tom Baker and stuff like that. Yeah. And those were great because they were made on such a low budget and had that like campy appeal to them.
Campy greatness. Yeah, I was like I never watched any Doctor Who, And I don't hate the modern series. Like, I had a friend who like does love the series, and they were like, "Oh, you should."
Everyone has a friend who loves the series, and
Well,
I
I
think
know.
that's the problem with it.
Well, nice.
I've been told by so
And
many
that's
people.
the problem. People like
No!
the show. Damn it.
No,
Yeah.
the problem is that everyone has that one friend who is way too into the show, and like talks about it to the extent where you just don't even want to see it because.
Dude, our one friends are gonna listen to this. They're gonna be like, dude, am I that friend?
Josh, I'm sorry.
You're that friend, Josh. He's used your name. I can use it too. You're that friend. But no, like the show's not that bad. I got made to watch an episode. And I was sort of like, this isn't like awful or anything. It's pretty good. I can kind of see its appeal. But like, it didn't hold any appeal to me, and I was just sort of like, again, it's a solid show. If you like it, that's good. I just kind of didn't think it was worth the hype that some of the fans gave it.
I did see a few of the David Tennant ones.
Okay.
And I saw those up until I think I even saw like the one of the season finales, the one where like
I don't know any.
Well, I'm just gonna describe this for the sake of
okay.
listeners.
Listeners, fans.
The one with like where Rose Tyler gets trapped in the alternate dimension, and it's trying to be all super sad because David Tennant will never see her again or whatever. But
David Tennant will never see her.
No, but
what I was just like, you didn't use the character name.
Felt,
like David Tennant
because he's just the Doctor. You know.
Yeah.
What I've always felt was the problem with the new series, though, is that they're trying to keep that sort of sense of cheesiness that the original one had a little bit, but at the same time they're trying to add in drama and make it really serious and deep and touching, but the drama never really actually engaged me with the character, so it came across as like soap opera melodrama.
Dude, do you just like not like drama?
No, because
I have varying opinions on drama. I'm sort of like, oh, it's drama.
I'm saying a well-done show will make you feel for the characters, but with Doctor Who, it never rose above the level of melodrama, where it's sort of like over-exaggerated soap opera type shit. Maybe because I never really got engaged with the characters.
In the one episode I saw, which I admit, like, okay, I saw one episode. I can't gauge an entire series in any way, but it's like, I kind of. Okay, but at the same time, I'm just gonna gauge the entire series, and it was really just kind of like the characters weren't even bad. It was just sort of like you had to like the characters enough already for the drama to work. Otherwise, you were just sort of like, I really don't care.
No, but see, I'm saying like a good TV show will make you like the characters, whereas with Doctor Who, it just seems to sort of drop in. These characters are quirky. You should like them. Fucking fezzes and bow ties and Ullensey and shit like that. Like,
yeah, okay. Oh wow. On that note, quirkiness is. Can we just? Okay, like
it doesn't fucking matter. Just go on whatever fucking tangent you want.
Tangent to the tangent. And eventually, we're gonna like cross back in if we keep going tangent. It'll be like it touched at one point and it diverged, and then it's gonna hit another thing, diverge at one point, and eventually we'll have like a circle of tangents leading back to the original point.
Oh man, that would be like a fucking fractal of
topic diversion. But okay, like quirkiness. It's not a bad thing. Being like weird or interesting is not a bad thing, and it's really normally in TV.
But it's not a good thing.
Well, yeah, no, but and like in a TV show, especially, it's kind of like that makes a character interesting. And when you've already seen so much media, you want your character desperately needs to be interesting.
It either makes them interesting or seem like they're trying way too hard to make their character seem interesting.
Well, yeah, there's
I can't think of a specific example, but when a series tries to play off, this is the funny, quirky character, and you can tell that they're trying to do it just to have that funny, quirky character.
Okay, no, dude.
That's really painful.
Yeah, no, it is. But on that note, it's so weird because like the line of like, here is the boundary between like they are trying too hard and this is just amazing, is so bizarrely narrow. Do you know what I mean though? Like, if a character's like way over the top and like violent and everything's crazy, you might just be like, this is terrible. Or like you might have like Helsing. It's like,
okay.
This isn't even trying, but it's amazing because of it.
Going back to Breaking Bad, you've only seen season 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
do you know who Tuco Salamanca was?
He's the guy with the drugs.
I'm fairly certain season 1 ended with them like making the first deal with Tuco or something.
I think It might have ended farther. That or I saw a bit into season 2.
Anyways, Tuco Salamanca, the crazy drug dealer guy.
Yeah, him. I know him.
Yeah,
He's the dude.
Like insane.
He punches a dude.
But they did that really well.
Yeah,
and he is that sort of like insane, over the top, unpredictable character.
Oh, he's great.
Which is kind of a trope.
Scary as shit, though.
He did feel intimidating, and then the scene. I don't think you guys
the
part where Walt goes into his hideout with the fake meth, and then it's actually the explosive.
No, I saw that. That was
and he's
amazing.
like, "This isn't meth."
This isn't boom, and it's like,
and
the dude's like, "Yeah."
I'm fairly certain that was in season 2. I can't really remember.
I think it was season 1. That or the line is also blurred there. I literally I was at a friend's house, and it was after a party, and all the other people had left, and it was just kind of like, "Are they Breaking Bad?" And I was like, "Sure, Breaking Bad," and we Breaking Bad it did. And it was good. We just kind of kept watching though, so I don't really know where we were when we stopped. I just know it was good, and that I saw the scene where he blew stuff up, and it was amazing.
See, I find it weird that you would say that it was good and then have no interest in
No, it is really good. Breaking Bad is really good, and then I get I just get to a computer, and I'm I'm bored off my ass, and I'm I could watch that. I'm not gonna watch that.
Seriously. I don't know, at least for me and for everyone else that I've talked to, once you get into seasons 3 and 4, it's seriously I want to sit down and watch this entire season in one night type thing.
I honestly have this sort of weird... Okay, I think it might be that it's not flawed enough or indirect enough for me to talk about it over much. No, do you know what I mean though? It's good enough and so clear and and good at delivering what it's trying to deliver that I can't be let us interpret this or analyze it. It's no, it's there, it's good, it knows what it's doing, you know what it was saying, and it's really, you know what I mean though? I can't, even if I watch it, okay, it's sort of like Game of Thrones like that, except for even in Game of Thrones it's more you don't quite know the characters as much. But in, Breaking Bad, you know the characters. So just be sort of that show's amazing, dude. And it'd be yeah, it is. Remember that moment? And it'd be yeah.
But it is amazing, especially,
And I could be remember that moment?
The end of season 4.
Great.
I don't want to spoil it for anyone who might be listening who hasn't seen it, but the end of season 4, if you ever watch it, is just holy shit. It's oh my god, I just got my face blown off by how amazing that is.
Thus far you've described it as shit and having your face blown off. I gotta see this now. I know what you mean. I'm just making fun. We're moving on, but yeah, no, okay, other fucking kid shows. Let's just tangent. What I want? Okay, I'm half tempted to just be math diagram and find out where our tangents will have led us, but
God, that would...
Fucking God. Why would I do that? I don't know. But, okay, actually, can I just... What? I know, okay, I've just had these moments in, a class and, or, anything, and, someone will just be it'll probably be, about this number. I'll be I'm gonna do the math on this. And I happened to, day, and it was, you split off, into groups... of this number of size, we need to cover this many topics between groups, so people will have to present alone. And I think that'll be a fairly large number. And I was I'm just gonna calculate this with multiple equations, cancel the x's. Okay, there's 2y and equal, and then I just solved it, and I was oh, okay, I did that. And so I really don't want to share with anyone that I did that because that's kind of sad.
You just shared with the internet, man.
Yeah, man.
But it's the internet. I don't think anyone gives a shit.
No one does. But, oh, man. Kids shows. Just fucking... Okay,
Okay, so moving back around to nostalgia.
Okay.
You know how people always describe nostalgia as, rose-tinted glasses or whatever?
Kind of. No, that's kind of what I was saying,
though. First of all, where's that phrase from? I don't know.
I don't know precisely the time period, but it's sort of well, I know what it, you can even without knowing how it freaking originated, you can be I get it. It's you're wearing glasses and they're rose tinted and everything looks pretty and red and cool.
I guess.
That's kind of, I guess that's a concept, yeah. But it's where did that originate?
Someone should literally market...
Who wore their rose-tinted
We
glasses
should-
and wasn't Optimus? And someone was like, "Dude, stop wearing the rose-tinted glasses,
No.
man."
We should make rose-colored glasses.
I think they exist.
No, and they
okay.
would be
Be
red
rose-colored
colored
glasses,
and we would advertise them as guaranteed to make whatever you're watching from your childhood at least 15% better.
Ha!
I don't know.
No, it's just I had like, God,
What?
I had the instinct. It's been so long since I had a moment and the instinct to go 20% cooler.
Yeah.
I had the
don't.
instinct. No, I know. That's why I was like, should I say that? Because
You just did.
Well, I know, but I had the instinct. It was just like, no, and then you were like, what? And I was like, I had to explain it. Oh God.
Stop.
Okay, my throat's not gonna be any more clear. It's just kind of like, nah, your throat's gonna be this way, man. But
just accept it. The cats
am.
are fucking you up, man.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. What other kids shows? Like, what else did you watch? I used to watch like Teen Titans, and I was like, that is the shit. And then I went back.
Actually never saw Teen Titans, and like
It was pretty good.
everyone talks about how like great it was and how they were
Actually,
so
it was-
disappointed when it got
It
canceled.
was pretty great. I went back and watched it because like a friend was just like, "Oh man, that was great," and I was like, I went back and watched it, and I was kind of like, "Okay, this has obvious like kid show flaws, and it's like not as serious as it could have been sometimes." But like at the same time, it was kind of like, "Huh, this is pretty good," or like it was kind of like this has clear flaws, but no, it genuinely is enjoyable. Like I see very much why as a kid, especially when I couldn't comprehend that it had flaws. It was like, oh my god, this is amazing. But, also, it had a great theme song. Why do kid shows... not as many kid shows have that anymore. That makes me sad. It eats up airtime, but at the same time, it was like... When the theme song... When the theme song kicked in, you were like, oh, this show is happening. Do you know what I mean? Like, a good theme song could make your show just like, yeah, before the show aired, and then you'd be like... I am so fucking pumped for this because I sat through like a minute and a half.
But then
with
the show never
super
lives
music.
up to the theme song. Like,
Well, not normally.
like
but
they show like all the action happening, and then it gets to the episode,
It's
and
still
it's like,
worth it.
let's sit around and discuss the. I don't know.
It's
I get the same thing with Final Fantasy.
it's still worth it.
Where you see like the
theme
like
song?
no, not with the theme song,
You
but
see-
like you get the
I
like
haven't
5-minute
finished it.
opening pre-rendered cutscene of your characters being badass and doing all these flips and shit, and then you get to the game and it's like menus,
Honestly,
menus.
menus.
Like, I never
why I
really
can't
liked.
play
I
MMOs.
never liked JRPGs.
That's why I can't play MMOs.
I never liked
It's all
RPGs,
menus.
but JRPGs do that even more. Like
They're
the menu-based combat never.
Okay, like
Never did it for me.
I like. It works for me, but the one thing is just like I'm not, and this really is just like okay, yeah, people enjoy this. There's a purpose to it, but it's like the complexity of like some of the early Final Fantasy games. Menu-based combat was just like there's like 3 menus, and you could just like scroll into a menu that leads into your like spell menu, and then cast a thing. You could switch order of your party so that your weaker players aren't as likely to get attacked unless it's a back attack, which would make it's actually a remarkably complex system for early ones and probably later ones too. I haven't played any of the later ones. I've only played like 5.
Okay,
in the earlier-
13 was dumb. 13 was
God,
dumb.
we are so.
We're at 43 minutes.
Our
too.
conversations fucking wander the earth like pair of people.
If we don't want this to run for like
wandering
2
the
hours, we should probably wrap it
desert.
up.
That or find a concluding note, which is the same
stop
thing.
sing-
No,
stop
oh, okay,
singing.
okay. I can't sing.
Stop singing.
Yeah. That's not. No.
I think
no,
that ends it.
No! No! This is not the end!